FPL Game Week 20 team selection. Nicholas Jackson has now blanked in 3 straight game weeks and started from the bench against Ipswich. And João Pedro has not scored a goal in 7 game weeks. Meanwhile, Chris Wood has now passed the 100-point mark in FPL. And Gabriel Jesus has now got 6 goals in his last 4 game weeks. So, which forward should we be targeting? What should we be doing with the ones that we have at the moment? That will be discussed in today's video with my plans, as well as my Game Week 20 lineup and the captaincy, even though that's not much of a discussion anymore. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe. Let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert, where I was Go Green, and for the 4th time in 5 game weeks, and also the first time in 2025, they did go green. Yeah. Good week all round, 4 assets finding double-digit returns, starting with the captain, Mohamed Salah, who has now broken the 200-point barrier in just 19 game weeks, and when you consider Liverpool have only played 18 games, it's all the more impressive, so pretty much auto-captain territory for him now. Trent, the second high score of the week in my team, finally scoring his first goal of the season, combining a clean sheet and swiping maximum bonus for a 15-point return. Lewis Hall, now his second double-digit return in 4 game weeks and scoring 40 points in that time as well, continues to provide absolute value from owning since game week 12. And of course Morgan Rogers, of course we've owned him since game week 1, so it's been all the more satisfying to have backed him from the pre-season and seeing him return the way he has been. Alisson Becker, of course, returning an assist like Trent did, as did Salah technically with 1 point extra, and Foden got an assist, and Isak just continued scoring for the 6th game week in a row. Of course, Nicholas Jackson started from the bench, and that's now 3 blanks in a row for him, which is not good, and it's all the more irritating to see him benched when you see João Pedro. I had benched his points as well. Benched O'Shea's clean sheet against Chelsea, but I mean, that was never really going to start, would I? So that's okay. But of course, there is a lot to discuss, as Chris Wood popped up with 12 points and he broke the 100-point barrier, and Gabriel Jesus has continued his form. So we will discuss that in the next section. As you've probably seen, 2 forwards have been putting their hand up recently, and that's Gabriel Jesus and Chris Wood. Gabriel Jesus has found some serious form for Arsenal, and at the perfect time as well, with Bukayo Saka sidelined for the foreseeable future. He's now scored 6 goals in his last 4 games. But Chris Wood has also been performing all season, and he's now in the 100 club. And of course, this week, Wood has the better fixture with Wolves away, but then he runs into Liverpool straight away the following week, which is far from ideal. So my plan at the moment is to roll my transfers, assess the situation, and make a decision in game week 22. So considering that Isak won't be going anywhere, having scored in 6 successive games, it's going to be between Jackson and Pedro to bring one of, or both of, Jesus and Wood. But I will not be selling Nicholas Jackson before game week 22, because that's when Chelsea will face Wolves at home, and for all their improved form, they're still conceding goals. And as far as rotation worries, Christopher Nkunku's not done very well when he's come in. In fact, he was subbed on when Chelsea were winning against Fulham, and of course they finished the game losing. And then he started away to Ipswich, where Chelsea didn't even score in a 2-0 loss away to Ipswich. So I'm willing to give Jackson at least until game week 22, as for the Wolves fixture as mentioned. So that leaves João Pedro. His Brighton side are winless for 7 games, and they just scored 4 goals in the last 4 league games as well. So for me, he's the biggest fire in my team at the moment, but I will give him the Ipswich away fixture at the very least. More so, I can arrive in game week 22 with 3 free transfers to decide who out of Jesus and Wood to choose. But as you can see, the following fixtures after Ipswich as well: Man United away, Everton at home, Nottingham Forest away, Chelsea at home. These are all pretty poor fixtures from an attacking perspective, especially when you consider the defensive form of Everton and Nottingham Forest. So we'll reassess the situation in game week 22, which means I'm going to be rolling and just calling up the troops for a pretty difficult week, as it pretty seems, as you'll see in the team selection. So I'm hoping to roll in game week 20 and 21, as mentioned, to arrive in game week 22 with 3 transfers. So we're just going to be using what we have for what is shaping up to be a pretty difficult game week. And Starting with in goal, Alisson welcomes Manchester United for the Northwest Derby, and the two teams couldn't be further apart in terms of form. Liverpool are undefeated in their past 14 league games. Meanwhile, United have lost 5 of their last 6 league matches. Alisson kept his first clean sheet since game week 7, and also on the 4th time of asking since his return from injury, so he will be hoping for more of the same against the United side that have failed to score in their last 3 matches. Trent Alexander-Arnold delivered his second attacking return in 3 game weeks with a goal and clean sheet along his way to a 15-point haul in game week 19 at West Ham. As mentioned, United are scoreless for their last 3 games, so Trent has plenty of routes to points in game week 20. Gabriel Magalhaes travels to Brighton in the late Saturday kickoff, knowing a win will take Arsenal 3 points behind Liverpool temporarily, with the league leaders playing on Sunday. Brighton have not won a game in 7 games now, and have scored just 4 goals across their last 4 matches. In that period, only Newcastle and Nottingham Forest have conceded fewer goals than Arsenal, with none and 1 respectively, which leads into why I'm currently starting Lewis Hall over João Pedro. Newcastle have kept 4 successive clean sheets before their trip to Tottenham in Saturday's early kickoff. Across those 4 game weeks, Hall has returned 40 points, which includes 3 attacking returns, which is as many as João Pedro has managed in the last 6 game weeks, and he's a defender. So considering that João Pedro will be playing in his less favoured position at 9, with Ferguson and Welbeck both out for Brighton, against an Arsenal side that have conceded the fewest XG in the last 4 games, combined with the dismal form of Tottenham, I'm going to be playing a 4-4-2 for the first time this year, from the start anyway. Lucas Digne is an early contender for my flop of the season. Since arriving in my game week 12 wildcard, he was benched for the first fixture against a goal-shy Crystal Palace at the time, and he has 0 returns for me in that time, also managing to miss Aston Villa's clean sheet at home against Southampton when he started from the bench in game week 15. But as mentioned, we're preparing for future moves, so we're going to call up the troops, and he gets a call up today, this week, in the game against Leicester, in what is sizing up to be a pretty difficult game week. As you can see, I'm not going to have many clean fixtures according to the FDR, but despite his trolling, only Trent Alexander-Arnold has created more big chances amongst defenders, and in fact only Saka, Palmer, Salah and Son have more big chances across all positions, big chances created. Since Ruud van Nistelrooy arrived in early December, only Southampton, United, Everton and Ipswich have scored fewer goals than Leicester. In fact, since that win against West Ham, Leicester have managed just 3 goals in the 5 games that have transpired since, failing to score in 3 of the past 4. So hopefully Digne starts this game, as he has a few route to points, if he starts. Mohamed Salah continued his devastating form as he became the fastest player ever to reach 200 points, reaching his double century in game week 19, despite Liverpool only playing 18 games following the postponement in game week 15. He's also surpassed 200 points on 8 occasions, which is now the most out of all players since fantasy began in 2002-2003. Nonetheless, he will be my captain this week, and he probably should be yours as well, especially when Liverpool scored at least twice in their last 11 matches, and United have conceded at least twice in 5 of their last 6. Cole Palmer has been quiet of late, with just 1 goal in his previous 4 game weeks, but he's been putting up decent underlying stats, with at least 0.41 expected goal involvements in each of the last 4. Chelsea have also won each of their last 6 visits to Crystal Palace, so Selhurst Park could be the perfect tonic for a Chelsea side that are now winless in 3. But Chelsea have been vulnerable recently, with just 1 clean sheet in the previous 6 league games, and Ismaila Sarr put up an expected figure of 0.95 expected goal involvements in his last home game, so hopefully we get a few points from both Palmer and Sarr in this fixture. Phil Foden will have very fond memories of facing West Ham at the Etihad, having scored a brace to secure the Premier League on the last day of the 2023-2024 season. That seems a distant memory at the moment, with Man City faltering in their title defence, finding themselves 6th place and 14 points off league leaders Liverpool. But the citizens did just snap their rut, finding their second victory in 10 Premier League games, and they've scored at least 3 goals in their last 4 matches against West Ham in all competitions. So it's probably a good time to be facing the Hammers, who will be missing captain Jared Bowen, who injured his left foot in their most recent game where Liverpool put them to the sword, slapping 5 goals past them in their own London stadium. Nicholas Jackson, as previously mentioned, has blanked in 3 successive game weeks, where he started from the bench against Ipswich in the game that they lost, and he should return to the starting lineup in Chelsea's bid to snap a 3-match winless run. Jackson also scored in the reverse fixture earlier this season, so maybe he can repeat that feat. And rounding off the team, Alexander Isak is the most informed forward in the game, having scored in 6 successive league matches, and has contributed to Newcastle scoring 18 goals in that 6-match span, with only Liverpool scoring more goals in that period, with 19, albeit playing 1 match fewer due to the postponement. Tottenham versus Newcastle is a fixture that regularly features plenty of goals, with at least 3 goals in 8 of the last 9 meetings. And Isak will look to continue his rich vein of form against the Spurs side missing as many as 7 players, with Rodrigo Bentancur now suspended following his yellow in the Wolves game. So that's my team selection for this week. As mentioned, I will not be looking to make any transfers for the next 2 game weeks at the very least, so we're just going to be calling up on our very deep squad. This is why you always make sure that you have a deep squad that you can call up on players. We do have Rodgers suspended, which is quite annoying, especially in this week where there's very difficult fixtures. Literally the only other green fixture I have, and he's on the bench, so that's great. Thanks by him. But of course, we thank him for his return so far, and we'll have Joao Pedro first bench in case something happens. So that's how we're sizing up. Make sure you drop any questions that you have in the comments. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where I post my deadline 15 minutes before the deadline, and also my thoughts during the game week as well. And if you have any questions, of course, you can just ask and I'll reply as soon as I see them. So thanks, and I'll see you soon.